Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to do a video on ruching a pattern. Now I have seen the new, or I should say newer, Patterns for Pirates pattern right here that features ruching, and I was thinking about buying it because when they're on sale they always have their introductory price and it's very good. But I thought, do I really want to print out all those pages again and put it together and then do the alterations that I always do on the independent pattern companies or the commercial pattern companies? And I thought, no, I'm going to take a bodycon dress that I already have in my stash that's already altered, and I'm going to add ruching to do it, and I'm going to show you my thought process in how I go about doing this. Now, I wanted to let you know, I am not a pattern maker. I am not a certified pattern maker, but I do know how to do this ruching, and whatever I'm doing as far as alterations, I like to share it with you because some of my approaches are a little unorthodox, but they work for me. And I never want you to feel apprehensive or nervous about doing these pattern alterations, because what's the worst that can happen? It just doesn't work out. But usually they work out for me. So this is the pattern that I'm trying to recreate right here. And I am using a bodycon dress already in my stash that's altered. So let's go to my cutting table and I'm going to show you how I go about doing this alteration. The first step is to trace off the original pattern that you're going to use. You can use any bodycon dress style that you have in your stash that you've made before. I've made this particular pattern that I'm using before at least twice, so I know exactly how it fits and it's perfect. So I traced off this pattern. These are the copies, and I'm going to ruche the midsection right here. You're going to want to identify on your body where you want the ruching to take place and where your bust placement is, and down to where generally your hip line would be. And I extended it a little bit past my hip line, and I think this is going to be good. On this pattern here, I marked right here where I want to start the ruching, and over here I mark where I want that ruching to end. I did it on the front and the back, and I also marked it with some markings right here. I just created some triangles, and I copied these same triangles onto the original pattern because I'm going to use that original pattern to determine if it's the right original length, because when I cut this to spread it, this area is going to get much larger. But when I ruche the fabric, I need to bring it back and compare it against the original pattern to make sure it equals this length right here. In order to calculate the ruching, you want your extra fabric in the area where you're ruching to be about 1.5 to 2 times greater than the original width right here, or I should say the length. And what I did was I measured from here to here, and I came up with 12.5 inches. And I just picked 1.75. I didn't want to go as low as 1.5. I didn't want to go as much as 2.0. So I just picked a medium in between. And I multiplied the 12.5 by 1.75, and I came up with 21.875. From that 21.875, I subtracted the 12.5 original length, and I came up with how much to add. And that is 9.375. I'm going to just put it at 9.5. I'm not going to be very fussy with calculating with fractions like 0.375. So I want to add between here and here about 9.5 inches, and I created my slash lines a 1/2 inch apart, and I'm going to cut on each slash and just spread it a little bit. That's going to make it easier to connect this area right here and to get the original curves. So now I'm going to go and cut on each line, spread it about 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch in between these to get the amount that I want. I am no official pattern maker. How I do things is specific to how I want to go about and achieve a particular look. Here is my pattern. I slashed and spread it every other line approximately, and I had 12 cuts. So I took my original 9.0 I use 9.5, and I divided 9.5 by 12 to get the amount that I have to spread each one of these slashes. And I came up with, I think, 0.79. I'm not going to worry about that little bit. I'm just going to do 3/4 of an inch between each one. It might be a little bit less, but that's okay. I don't have to be super exact with the amount of ruching. So right now, I'm going to put paper underneath this area right here. And I want to make sure that my grain lines are all aligned. That's very important. I will be able to see the gridded system on the back to make sure that everything is in alignment. Here I'm finished doing my slash and spread. You can see how the back now differs from the front. Here was the original area. Here is the length that was added in. This is the area right here that I'm going to put a paper underneath. I'm going to true it up. You could freehand this. You could use a French curve. It's probably best to use some type of French curve. I'll see if I have one available because it is Christmas and I was doing a lot of different things. I don't know if I can find it. So I'm going to do that right now, and then we'll go to the next part of this pattern alteration. My front and back pattern pieces are now done. Always double check, make sure your numbers go up to whatever number you have it written up to. In this case, mine is 11. And also make sure that you count the same number of 3/4 or whatever your number is. If it's 1/2 inch, I have 12 3/4 here and 12 3/4 here. And now I'm ready to cut this out in fabric. Now that my pattern alterations are all done, my fabric is in the dryer and I will hopefully cut this out today. How will this look on me? Will my ruching work out so it works with my figure? You know, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I ruched a pattern, so we'll see. All right, so until next time, happy sewing.